If we are lucky, we eat food every day of our lives. Sometimes we may take our food for granted and have no idea where our food has come from. How does eating local, organic food grown on a small farm benefit our health and the environment around us? Are there ways in which we can, as a school and as individuals, improve our food systems by supporting local farms?
I think that it's great to keep our dollars local, keep the money within the community. I think that it's really important to have a relationship with your farmer. You can have that conversation on a day-to-day, what's going on in the field, how does the season affect this or that. I think some people don't really understand, or people learn a great bit when they're a member at our farm because they can see how that storm affected that particular crop. And I think that having that knowledge is key to understanding, the food system that we have locally.
Also, we use organic practices, so the vegetables are really good. They're good for you. They're healthy. They don't have any pesticides or chemicals on them. But they're also, in the way that they're grown, they come out really, really delicious. The other aspect of them being local means that they're not traveling distances to get to you, that you're getting them pretty fresh off the farm. We harvest the morning that we give the vegetables to our CSA members, so they're getting them within 12 hours of the vegetables being harvested, whereas the stuff that's coming from California or Mexico is going to have been sitting in a truck for maybe a week, if not longer. I do believe that the mindset of many people is starting to change and shift towards being more oriented towards local, organic, sustainable food. Maybe it's the bubble I live in, which is possible. But it also, I think, is, it's starting to become more of a necessity for people. It's starting to become it actually, in many ways, is cheaper to get good food and to feel good, to know where your food is coming from and feel good about the source of your food. I guess maybe not financially cheaper, but, you're feeling good about your health, and maybe in the doctor's visits it's cheaper in the long run.
We raise our chickens, I think the way we would all want to eat them, that they are raised outside, they're raised on pasture, they're in the sun, they're in the weather, they are fed grain that is freshly ground and is antibiotic free and hormone free. So these chickens have a pretty good life, and that's why, and they're slower growing chickens, so it's why they taste better. But we recognize that, it costs a little bit more. Now, those costs we think are worth it because it's a better bird and it's a more environmentally benign way of growing them. The number of people who say it's the best chicken I've ever had, or who really are just thrilled to have it, that's very gratifying.
Interesting, when I first started, there was a lot of attention focused on look what we can get from around the world into our facility. So things like raspberries from Chile, different types of imported things, that it was really a buzz, and you were really, I think, surprised and encouraged by the availability of modern transportation and different types of growing methods that had been developed. So raspberries in January, for instance, were something that people were thrilled to have. Fast forward 30 years to where I am today, and that's not something to be very proud of in the realm that I work in. There's a big push to eat seasonally and kind of draw back on some of these things that were once considered life-changing or fantastic for people to have access. But over the years, the reality is that those type of things that we've done that we once thought were good have now degraded our environment, put more carbon into the air. Social work for people in these fields and farms in third world countries has started to come to light. People want to know where their food comes from, more so now than ever.
Well, I think there will always be a need for small farms and for large farms, but I think that what we are seeing, and particularly, and I think of it today as I sit over dinner because of the People's Climate March and thinking a lot about climate, that you look at large parts of this country and it's going to be more difficult in light of climate change to raise things in certain parts of the country. And so the need for more local agriculture in New England, as in other places, for us to be able to be more self-sufficient is going to continue to become more important. And the recognition that there are environmental consequences to the way that we have been growing our food in this country, and that some of that needs to shift. And I think that shift is towards local farms that may or may not be small. I don't think there's anything wrong with big farms per se. It's how things are raised on those farms that matter.
Volunteers have been a crucial part of the farm pretty much since the beginning, or the early years anyhow, and yeah, having the Deerfield Academy students come consistently for, I don't know how many years now, 4, 5, 6 years. It's been a while. It's been tremendous, and we always look forward to having the Deerfield crew and volunteers in general, but especially the Deerfield kids coming consistently, coming in a regular schedule every week, and being pretty invested. I mean, it seems like the kids that come are psyched to be here. They're eager to really contribute, and they do. And so no, it's tremendous. I mean, I don't really like to think about what we would do without without the volunteers, but it's huge. Yeah, it really helped us with a lot of the bigger tasks.
The farm team shows up at these 2 different farms, and we do whatever the farmers need us to do that day. So we never really know what we're going to be doing. We have some suspicions that it might involve garlic, or it might involve weeding a strawberry patch, if that's what we were doing the preceding time and hadn't finished the task. But we'll show up, and it could be harvesting carrots one day. It could be cleaning garlic or cracking garlic into seed, or planting garlic in rows. Because we get returning students like Eileen Russell, Kate French, students coming back again and again. James Yang did it for 4 years. They end up being leaders on the team, and they set a good example. And they've developed a work ethic that then they pass on to the current students or the new students, and then that becomes catches like wildfire. And so the team has become much more productive over the years, and it's that veteran presence that really makes a difference.
I have a garden at home, and I think it's really nice to be able to eat food that you actually grew yourself. I think it kind of just tastes a little bit better, and you just feel better about it. So I think it's awesome that at Deerfield we're able to say okay, these apples came from Clarksdale Farms, and I've met the guy who owns the Clarksdale Farms, and so it's nice to really know where it came from.
I think when you're a student at Deerfield and you're eating food in the dining hall and you know that it's sourced from a local farm, maybe not the exact farms that we're working on, but other farms locally, I think that creates a real deep connection. You understand it on a deeper level. You start to get a sense that, yeah, I want to help these local farms because I like these local farmers that I know at Natural Roots and Riverland, and it makes a difference to support these families. And it's good. The food tastes better when you've got food that is organic, that is being grown by compost from that farm naturally. I think it gives you a greater appreciation for making sure that the food that you put in your body here in the dining hall or you buy out in the supermarket, that you're as much as possible buying food that's locally sourced.
We actually had one sit-down meal, I think on a Sunday night. There was the meal was all local, from local farms. That meal just tasted great. You could tell without even knowing it was local. It was just better source of food, better quality. And now that I actually see how the process kind of works and see how they handle it and everything, I definitely think eating from local farms is important.
I see a little bit of inspiration, a little bit of hope, and I know that just multiplies and radiates outward. So just the growing number of young farmers, the growing number of small farms, the growing, interest in organic farming and growing interest in horsepower, all those things make me really excited about where we're going.
Food justice is huge in my mind. It's very, very important in my mind that people who don't have access to good food are given access soon. And I don't know what pathway that's going to be. And I really hope to be a part of it in some ways, and hope to get involved.
In the end, awareness of food systems and food sourcing can lead to healthier decisions and a truly sustainable world.